Hey y'all, Riley here. 2023 was a triumph for us in a lot of ways. Hannah and I have been overlanding for about 4.5 years now, and every year we try to push ourselves into stay on the road a little longer and going a little further. So in 2024, we kind of accomplished what we set out to do 4 years ago, which was complete a full-size overland build with our 2022 F-250 trimmer and equip it with a Scout Camper's Kenai. And we picked that up in mid-May, and since then we've spent about 4 full months in it. And that was great, but like many of you, at the end of last year, we took the time to think about our goals and our priorities and start to come up with what we want to focus on this year. And we still plan to adventure. We're never going to stop doing that. But we decided to refocus and reprioritize on spending more time locally, making our adventures a little shorter, and allocating our time, our resources, our money to preparing for our future. Because we've built our truck and our lifestyle and even our collection of gear around more extended trips, however, we realize that we're going to have to shift how we do those things as we kind of embrace this new lifestyle for a year or two. And that involves really simplifying the gear that we have as well as the setup that we're using. With that in mind, I think this video really sets the tone for that shift because, as you can see next to me, when I saw that ICECO was releasing this APL20, I knew that it was going to be perfect for what we wanted to do in 2024, which is more local adventures, shorter trips, kind of a more weekend warrior style of travel. And the fridge that we have and the gear that we've been using is just too big, too bulky, too inconvenient to just like throw in the back of the truck or in the back of a Jeep and go on a shorter adventure like that. So, full transparency, when they said they're going to release this, I was very interested. They ended up sending me this one for a review. So I did get this from ICECO free of charge. So just keep that in mind as you watch this. About this fridge freezer, and it is a fridge freezer, you can use it to refrigerate. You can also use it to freeze. It weighs only 23 pounds. And as you can tell from the small footprint, it's very compact, which is nice if you're looking for a fridge or a freezer to take on shorter trips, or you're just kind of a minimalist. It has a 20-liter capacity, and for us Americans, that's 21 quarts. I think you could get even more American and say it can hold around 23 cans of your choice, you know? As far as measurements go, it is 25 by 15 by 11 and a half, thereabouts. So it is quite small, but it does pack a lot of features into a small footprint. Some of those features that you would expect from a larger, more expensive refrigerator. One of the first things that you'll notice is that it looks like it's all aluminum, and that's because it is. The entire external shell is made of aluminum. The corner guards are aluminum, and even the latches are aluminum. So that gives it a really premium look and feel. It also keeps the weight down. So it's not just about aesthetics, it is about function. But admittedly, it looks great, especially for a fridge that fits this category of being a little smaller and maybe a little less expensive than your National Lunas or ARBs that use metal construction. It does pack a lot of features, as I mentioned, and it really feels high-end. Some of the things that stand out are that these latches are lockable, which is nice if you're going to put it in the back of your truck or something like that. It is okay to be exposed to light moisture, but they don't recommend leaving it out like just exposed in the back of your truck. But if it gets a little wet, it's probably going to be fine. One of the main things that I like about this fridge is that the hinges are soft close, so it's not just going to come slamming down on you, right? And then they also allow you to open it to any angle and it will stay there. So if you have used a fridge like this in the past, you know that most fridges like this, the hinges do not allow for infinite adjustability like that. They are either open and the weight of the lid is holding it open, or you have to hold it open yourself as you reach in there. And if you don't, gravity takes control, and it's annoying, but it can also be painful. So that's one of the most underrated aspects of this fridge, in my opinion. That's the thing that I've actually appreciated about it the most. I tested this both as a freezer and as a fridge, and ICECO claims that it can go from -4 degrees Fahrenheit to 68 degrees Fahrenheit. I tested it at 0, and then I tested it in fridge temperature, so that 32, 34 mark, and it performed well. Grain of salt, it is the winter, so ambient temperatures are lower than they usually are during camping season. So keep that in mind. It makes it easier on the compressor. Insulation matters a little less, and I will have to update this review once I've used it in the summer, because being so light and so compact, it is reasonable to question the amount of insulation and how hard the compressor might have to work to keep things cool when the heat is, southeast here in the 90s during the summer. You can use a 12 volt, as I have it hooked up to a little battery system here. You can also use a household outlet. ICECO includes both adapters. And one thing that I would like to note that's different from some other brands is that both adapters use the same port on the fridge, which is surprisingly enough not that common. Most use 2 separate ports, and it's not that big of a deal, but if you have your fridge kind of pushed up into a corner or something in your vehicle and you're trying to feel around for the right port to plug in, this removes the frustration, and it's nice to just have that one port to worry about to keep closed when it's not in use. There is a control panel on the side of the fridge, so you can control your temperature, your battery settings, your compressor settings, all that kind of stuff on the fridge directly. You can also download ICECO's app, which gives you really easy access to all the features of this fridge. So personally, I like using the app quite a bit. It uses Bluetooth, and it works very well. It's one of the better apps for this type of equipment that I've used. The settings that you can adjust either on the fridge or via the app are the temperature. You can turn the fridge on and off. You can switch between fridge and freezer modes, which is a nice little one tap option if you don't want to use the temperature slider that's on the app. You can change the compressor setting from max, which draws more power but cools the fridge down more quickly, or eco, which preserves your battery by lowering the aggressiveness of the compressor. You can also switch between Fahrenheit and Celsius for those of you who prefer Celsius. And lastly, you can change the battery protection mode. So this is very handy for people who use their fridge while traveling, especially if you have it running off of your vehicle's battery. So as you might be able to tell, to this point, I have mostly positive things to say about the APL20, and that's not just because ICECO sent it to me, it's because it's genuinely a good fridge in terms of performance, but the aesthetic, the weight, and the size are truly perfect for what Hannah and I plan to use it for this year and in coming years as we go forward. That said, I do have one area of concern, and it's actually related to one of the things that makes this fridge so special, and that is aluminum dents very easily. And while it does look great and save weight, it is more prone to picking up little dings here and there as you toss it in the back of your car or things roll around and hit it. For example, the interior of mine actually picked up a little dent, which I'll show you, just from the contents of the fridge shifting as I went on a recent trip. So it's not a big deal, especially if you're the type of person who is going to use and enjoy your gear and you're not too concerned with it staying in pristine condition. or you're the type of person who has a space for it where it is not going to be exposed to external factors that could damage it. But it is something that I wanted to mention just because I don't want this review to be all sunshine and rainbows. I had to throw a little bit of something in there for you guys. So overall, I think this is a phenomenal little fridge freezer. It's nice that it can do both. It's great for those who don't need a higher capacity or don't need dual zone, because while it can be a fridge or a freezer, it cannot be both at the same time. So if you're looking for that, you're going to have to look elsewhere and probably at something a little bigger. It's also not quite as overbuilt or as sturdy as something like a National Luna. We have a National Luna in our camper, and it is stainless steel. It is a tank, and I feel like I could throw it off a roof and it would keep it on. This is not that, but it's also a fraction of the weight, a fraction of the footprint, and a fraction of the price. So it checks a lot of boxes for most people who travel, who do weekend warrior style overland trips, or even stretch that a little longer if you're more of a minimalist and you don't need to carry a bunch of food or cold beverages. So I think that those mixture of factors with the small footprint make this a really compelling option for people who fall into those categories, and I wouldn't hesitate to recommend it. Granted, I've only been using it for a month, so I will keep you posted on that if anything changes, but I don't think it will. It seems very well built. The tolerances are great, and there's no reason that I have at this time to doubt that this will serve us well for years to come. If you are interested in this fridge, or you have experience with ICECO, drop some comments below, and I'd be happy to interact with you, answer any questions to the best of my ability, and just chat about overlanding gear or fridges. If you're interested in purchasing either an APL20 or another fridge freezer from ICECO, be sure to use my code RW12, and that'll get you 12% off on any fridge or fridge freezer that ICECO offers. And it also helps me out because it proves that I'm valuable. So anyway, links are in the description. If you're interested, go check it out, read the description, look at the specs, and compare it to the other options that are out there. Make the choice that's best for you. But for me, I'm very happy with this, and I'm excited to keep using it. Catch you on the next one.